Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions Podcast. Today is going to be more of just a fitness tip, and the reason for it is got a question about what is the number one exercise for bigger arms, and is there just one exercise? Well, let's find out. Thank you again for stopping by, and thanks for coming out for another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions Podcast. And today's question, I was talking to a client and he just wanted to know, he's like, hey man, if you had to boil it down and you had to make one decision in regards to what is the greatest exercise to get bigger arms. And it kind of put me on the spot, but I kind of just had to think about it, and I've been thinking about it for a while. And as far as my choice goes, and I know there's a whole bunch of different opinions, but I would have to go with, I'd have to go with pull-ups. I mean, I would basically say pull-ups and chin-ups. Those would be the two that I would go with, for bigger arms. Let's say I know that's focusing more on the biceps, but the reason why I like this workout is that it includes everything. Your triceps are still going to be used to stabilize. But that being said, I mean, I kind of did retort in the moment with, are we focusing more on bicep mass or tricep mass, right? Because your triceps are a lot bigger than your biceps, but everybody's in the gym focusing on doing curls for the girls, right? So what it comes down to for me is, what is your main focus? The reason why I like chin-ups and pull-ups is that it's a compound movement, which means that, your entire body is going to be engaged when you do it. It's not just going to be your arms working out, which will lead to overall mass and an overall improvement in the aesthetic look that you're probably going for, or that most of my clients are going for. And, I told him that, and we kind of just laughed, but I go more with the chin-ups and the pull-ups, but I would also say that, the best way to build that tricep mass, I would say dips, your normal dips, but they are also tend to be very difficult for a lot of people who have shoulder issues. And if you do, find that it really messes up your anterior delts, I would say, combination of skull crushers. What I'm basically saying is that there is no one perfect workout or one perfect exercise that's, going to give you big arms. I'd have to go with a combination of, one for chin-ups or one for biceps paired with one for triceps. What I do myself right now, because I can't even do chin-ups or pull-ups because I kind of have a scapular issue right now. It's fantastic. I can't really do a whole lot of that right now. But what I've been doing for myself or finding for myself, I do like hammer curls. So if you aren't able to do these exercises or you want something else to kind of start off with, I would say do some hammer curls, but focus on good form. I would say focus on, finding something that's around 60 to 70% of your 1 rep max, and do this exercise. And focus, number one thing, if you want to build muscle, guys, don't focus on the concentric part of the exercise so much as the eccentric. You want to focus, basically what that means is the concentrics when you're moving the weight up. But when you're coming down with the weight, that's the eccentric part of the motion. And the reason why you should focus on the eccentric part is that that's when the muscles are built, right? So those micro tears that are occurring at a cellular level, I mean, that's all occurring in the eccentric phase, right? So not the concentric phase so much. I mean, obviously there is some, and I mean, there's plenty, and that's more when you're developing strength. If you watch a power lifter when he's deadlifting, I mean, he's focusing on that. He's focusing on the pull, baby. He doesn't really care too much about the eccentric side of things. Whereas if you look at a good bodybuilder who knows what he's doing and he's all about building muscle, buddy is taking his time on the way down. And if you ever do force reps past failure, what that means is basically like, hey, you got nothing left in the tank, and you get a friend to kind of spot you. You do some lighter weights, and you get that guy to help you, with the up motion, with the concentric part of it, right? So he helps you with that, and you just focus on slowly bringing that weight down, and that in itself will get the muscle to grow a lot more, right? And in regards to, doing chin-ups and pull-ups, and even for a guy like myself, I recommended hammer curls for myself right now. But another thing that you can do as well, if you're looking to get bigger arms, is to use the assisted pull-up machine. If your gym doesn't have one, you can always just get a band and tie it around your normal standard pull-up machine. And that'll give you enough of a boost to help you out. I see a lot of chicks at the gym doing it. I've helped people to gradually progress. I'm blessed that at the gym that we're at, we have an assisted pull-up machine, or chin-up machine, whichever one you want to use it for. And even if you want to do dips, like I said before, dips are fantastic. You have shoulder issues, hey, you can still use the assisted machine to help you out with dips. If you do not have that, and you got a bench, you got a chair, you got a couch, you can definitely do some home workouts with that, right? And that will definitely help to build muscle. So let's go back to the actual exercise at hand. If you're able to do the exercise with absolutely no issue, what I would highly recommend is you go with a chin-up or a pull-up combination, and you combine that with your dips, whether it be with a chair, or the other alternate exercise that I would say gets top 2 would be the skull crushers, right? And obviously focus on that slow motion when you're coming down. So skull crushers, your goal is not to crush your skull, but you do want to make sure, you get some a good tricep pump essentially with this exercise. So you would just get the easy bar, put a comfortable weight, pop it onto your knees, bring it back over your head as you go onto a flat bench. You can use an incline bench as well. It'll hit, a different part of the tricep head, right? And this will be an excellent exercise to build mass, right? Like I said before, guys, don't neglect the tricep. The tricep is what's going to make up most of the mass in your arm. Not so much the bicep. The bicep's a lot smaller, whether it's the bicep brachialis, the short head or the big head of the bicep, basically. And, if you want to get that crazy peak, like the one that Arnold had when he flexed his biceps, that crazy peak is from, focusing on the smallest part of your arm, right? So if you want to focus more on that, what I would recommend is, do some preacher curls, do some spider curls are excellent for it as well. And you can even do where you get the cable, and you can do some over the head. I don't know, everybody's got a different name for them. I just call them cable curls over the head because it's very simple. I mean, the name basically explains what it does. And that'll focus more on the peak of your bicep, right? The hammer curls, like I said, will focus on the long head of your bicep, but that will give you more mass, thus making your arm bigger overall, right? So if you're focusing on purely mass, and obviously you want to focus on the aesthetic side of things as well to give you that balance, you want to make sure you do both. But if you're focusing more on mass and you just want to add as much mass as possible, I'd say for the biceps, I know I've added exercise as we go, but I would definitely go with chin-ups, pull-ups, and hammer curls. And then for your triceps, because like I said, man, choose 2 exercises, combine them, and you will get the best pump ever, right? So now for triceps, I would definitely go with dips if you can do them. And if you're able to add weights as you do the dips, 100% add weights. Put that chain around your neck. You look cool when you do it too, right? So you can do that as well. So you can do dips with weights. You can do standard dips, or you could do the assisted dips if you got shoulder issues, but you still want to try it out. Hey, it's a great option. And eventually, hopefully you'll be able to feel better over time as you do them. And if you can't do that, or you don't have access to it, you can definitely do dips with the couch, with the table, with whatever's available to you. You can definitely get some dips in like that as well, right? And if you have weights at the gym, which most gyms do, you can definitely do some some skull crushers, right? So you can definitely do skull crushers. Another exercise that I'll throw in there too is the close grip bench press. You do have to be careful. If you do not situate yourself accordingly, you may mess up your wrists. It's kind of a dangerous exercise. But if you know what you're doing, all you want to do is basically, it's like you set yourself up in the same way as a bench press. You lie on the flat bench, but you bring your hands closer together. Some guys have their hands touching. I don't recommend that because your wrists will start to kind of rotate inwards or outwards actually. And in doing so, you might lose the grip of the barbell, and it could land on your chest, crack a rib. That's not cool. I've seen that happen to people, and it's ugly. Number 2, what I would recommend is don't go with heavy weights with this. Like, it's up to you how much you can do comfortably, but you want to aim for about the 8 to 12 rep, right? 8 to 12 reps. And that goes for all these exercises. You want to make sure you can do 8 to 12 reps. We're focusing on hypertrophy. I would almost caution to going with something that you can do comfortably for 15 reps, but slow it down. Like I said before, guys, we want to focus on that eccentric phase. And if you're focusing on building muscles, focus on this, guys, because this will definitely help you to gain more muscle, right? Especially with the arms. The arms, it takes a little bit more time to build some good mass, I mean, you'll probably, if you're starting off, it's probably easier to gain inches on your penis versus, versus on your arms, Well, I guess everybody's different. But that being said, we're not talking about PE right now, but you can definitely, like for myself, I'm, adding the length, going for length this year. And I'm messing around with weights in that sense. But right now, when it comes to the gym and building your arms up, you definitely want to focus on the eccentric phase of the exercise, right? The concentric is still very important. You want to make sure, a good breakdown, I would say, is about 2 seconds up. Pause at the top for like half a second. You don't got to pause for too long. And then slowly bring the weight down. You can go anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds. But definitely focus on that pump. When you get that pump, that's when that, same as PE, right? You get that pump, it gets engorged, it's bigger. Same deal when it comes to building up, your muscles. You want to make sure you have that pump post-workout. Also very important, get a shake in you, get some food in you, get something in you post-workout. You want to take advantage of the anabolic window. Though certain people say that anabolic window does not exist, from my personal experience and from working with the people that I have, I find that, you can capitalize on this time post-workout. Post-workout, I say, hey, go get yourself a shake, especially if you're looking to grow. I myself, where I'm at right now, I'm focusing more on fat loss and just kind of overall, I'm more of at a maintenance stage. So I'm actually doing a lot of fasting because I just find that, hey, I burn fat fast and I want to get ripped for summer, right? It all depends on what your goals are. If you're an ectomorph, I'd say, man, eat twice as much as you're supposed to. Just get some food in you, but get nutrient-dense food. Get nutrient-rich food. A lot of guys make the mistake as well. It's like, hey, I'm just going to get some. I was working with a client at one point who, this guy was eating McDonald's post-workout because he's like, yeah, I'm getting all my calories in. But I'm like, dude, there's nothing in those calories. There is absolutely nothing nutritious in them. Go get yourself some kale, get yourself a steak, and eat some quinoa. Get some nutrient-rich food. Get yourself something that's full of all kinds of good stuff that you need. You want to take care of your macros? Yes. You want to make sure your calories are good, but you want to make sure you get something with solid micros in them, right? You got to get your micronutrients in check as well. Definitely multivitamins. As far as supplements would go, I would probably go with creatine above all else when you're looking to build muscle in anything at the gym. If you're a natural bodybuilder, again, I focus on natural bodybuilding, natural body recomposition. I don't know anything about, if you want to get synthetic and use drugs, this is not the right channel for that. This is not the right place. And I honestly, I couldn't tell you anything about the juice because I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to that. But a great place that you can go for that is More Plates, More Dates, or who else is one? I mean, Rich Piano was cool. He always talk about stuff that he was taking. I always found it interesting. But that being said, when it comes to the juice, I really don't know enough to tell anybody, about how it's done. That stuff is completely foreign. I mean, you got to be a damn near pharmacist to know what's going on there. And I am not, so when it comes to natural bodybuilding and, just taking your supplements that you get at a supplement store, hey, man, for me, creatine, like I said, I swear by it. It works wonders for me. It helps me to get my strength up. The one thing that I would caution or err on the side of caution with is making sure you get enough water, because studies have shown that it may show detrimental effects, on the kidneys and other organs, right? So just make sure you're getting enough water as well, guys, and if you're looking to build muscle, you should always be consuming, a decent amount of water. Water is essential to us. I mean, you want a solid erection, make sure you get some water in you, Water is essential to us as human beings, so make sure you get water. So that being said, I would say, hey, combine probably 2 of those exercises. Choose one for your biceps, choose one for your triceps, and then obviously, if I would say like a full workout, dude, like I'd say go with at least 4 different exercises, right, for each one, and work biceps and triceps together. Doing an arm day together. I used to split it up a lot back in the day, or I do biceps with back just because, it was already kind of pre-pumped. But I found that, in order to get the most out of it and truly see good growth, I found that just training biceps and triceps on the same day was terrific. So I would highly, highly recommend going about that route. All right. And I would say as far as reps and sets go, I'd say for each exercise that you do, I'd say do about 4 to 5 exercises, right? And then I would say make sure you do about 12 reps. Make sure they're nice and slow, nice and controlled. If you're breaking your form on each rep, baby, you ain't doing nothing. So make sure you don't do that. Make sure your form is good. And I know that on the last couple reps, sometimes you may break a little bit of form, but hey, you know what? You do want to get, the most out of it as well. And, you want to get the best pump. And if you do got to, mess up your form just a wee bit, that's not a horrible thing. But if you're swinging your back for every single curl that you do, you are going to break yourself, which is not a good thing. You do not want to hurt yourself. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and you're not going to make any gains. And, it's not worth it. So just make sure you train smart, train hard, and always look for that good pump. But that pump will come from, obviously doing the exercise in the correct way, right? You want to maximize muscle growth. You want to make sure that you get yourself something nutritious in you, something nutrient dense in you, and make sure you have that. I'd say anywhere from, as soon as you're done your workout, try to get it in you, man. At least a protein shake, but get something in you. A lot of guys that are trying to build muscle usually are not consuming the amount of calories that they need, that their body needs for recovery or just to, basically be alive. Like, especially if you're an ectomorph. Yeah, if you're an ectomorph, make sure you get that food in you ASAP, because you're going to need it more than a guy who's a meso or a guy that's an endo. Endo, you almost want to, be like, hey, how do I step back a little bit, right? But definitely get that food in you if you're obviously looking to build more mass and looking to, actually make your arms bigger. So definitely make sure you do that. And I would say as far as training frequency, do it once a week, man. Because if you're going to train back, you're going to train other parts of your body. Chest, shoulders, you're always going to have your arms involved, right? And I'd say you want to give yourself enough time to sufficiently recover. If you do not recover appropriately, and you see these guys that are swinging around heavy-ass weight like all day, every day, eventually the joints are going to give out, And if you're young, then you're able to get away with it for a certain amount of time until your central nervous system will start to seize up, and you'll start to plateau, and your strength gains will usually, start to go down just a wee bit faster. So just make sure that you're cautious. You want to give your body enough time to recover. If you do not, it's going to be the same as PE. You'll just, end up injuring yourself or, just not making the gains that you want. And your body's just going to be fighting to just kind of like, oh gosh, here we go again. It's like, it's not given enough time to heal. So just make sure that you heal up before you go and hit it again. But I would definitely say that those would be the best exercises to do. And probably the best way to go about it, right? So you want to make sure you take your time. You want to make sure every single rep counts. If you're swinging the weight around, like I said before, it's not good. So take your time. Also, the last thing that I will leave you with is training past failure, which I kind of alluded to earlier. It's extremely, you'll get an extreme pump from it. The only thing that I'm going to say is, just be cautious. Don't do something that's too heavy. And, you don't want to be snapping any tendons. You don't want to be straining your body, right? So make sure you get something that you feel that you can do comfortably for about, 15 reps at that time when you're already fatigued. And get your friend to help you out, when you're doing your curls or if you're doing the assisted pull-ups, something that you can do comfortably, right? And really focus on that eccentric pump. I would say go even further. Go like 5 to 7 seconds, man. But just milk it. You will see all kinds of vascularity at this point, right? And that's super good. And you want to make sure you hold that pump and you get the most out of it. You could do Katsu training or some type of occlusion training as well, right? You just want to make sure that you do it appropriately because, you'll get a massive pump from Katsu training. So definitely be careful with that. Katsu training is basically the equivalent of clamping from PE to basically, for your arms. All right, but that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, I can't really narrow it down to just a single exercise. I feel it's got to be a combination of at least two to really get the most for building up, bigger arms. But that's pretty much it. I'd like to thank you for stopping by. And be sure to check out masculinehealthsolutions.com for a lot more good content. Thanks again. And that's it for today's episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions podcast. If you want to learn more or get in contact, then please go to masculinehealthsolutions.com.